who are just joining us, and then for those who did join us, we had a couple of technical faults before we could get going. We're just making the gingerbread cake today, that's just for a little bit of starters, just to remind you all, if anyone has new, just tapped in. Sam's going to keep an eye on the comments for us, but for those who haven't seen the actual picture, here is our lovely gingerbread cake, and it's a gingerbread sponge cake. It is not a ginger cake, okay? So that's the difference. I love my cinnamon, my nutmeg, and also my ginger. So it's really, really crucial that when you make this cake, it's not a ginger cake. It is definitely a gingerbread sponge cake, okay? The gingerbreads we're going to make on Sunday, as I've already said, so join me on Sunday if you want to add to the gingerbread, and then you can keep those up until Christmas. They last forever because of the syrup in them. But first things first, cheers everyone. I'm already on the alcohol already, because that's what COVID does to us. Sam's eager to eat into this cake as soon as possible, and then we're going to be making another one. We'll probably give it to one of the neighbours, because that's what the group's about, helping our community. So hence what we'll do. Is there any concerns or any issues, Sam? What have we got? Doesn't matter, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys, for those who don't know, you need to ice your tin if you are doing that with me tonight. So again, ice your tin, and my tin is about 24 centimetres, I think it is 23 centimetres, yeah, like I say, I cooked in it yesterday, fabulous, it's come out beautifully done. So, butter, what I'd always say to you is use your hands, get tucked in there, make sure they're nice and washed. But also, when you do this, the tip is a lot of people just butter it up and then sling the mix in, okay? Not a good idea. Have a bit of flour, and then flour into the actual tin, and then shake it all about. And then give it a whisk around. And the reason you put the flour in is because it's just like butter. It actually makes the cake and not stick to the tin. So give it a round, and there you go. Hey presto, you are done. Okay, so we'll come back to that a bit later. So when I said this cake was easy in the last part, it is easy. This sponge cake is easy. I learned from the age of 16 when I was told how to do cakes. I mean, my mum would tell you, my God, I think I did my first few sponges and so I eventually worked my way in how to do it, and my little secrets are 150, 150, 153 eggs. You're sorted, okay? So you can't go wrong. So every mix or every sandwich you want to make is 150 grams, okay? So you can do as tall as cake as you want per sandwich, okay? Some people split the 150 grams of one mix and then split them into a sandwich if they don't want to be a big, or basically if they're on a diet, or they don't want to eat as much, or whatever else. However, one sandwich there is the whole entire cake there is actually 2 mixes of the 150 grams. So that's what I'm going to be making tonight, but you guys at home can actually do the 150 grams and stick to that, cut it in half, and hey presto, you've got your little cake for you. So, first things first, what I'm going to ask you to do is you should have your ingredients if you haven't already. These are my little preps for, here's ones I made earlier. So first things first, you need to make sure your flour has been sieved. Really important. You sieve your flour, when you sieve your flour, you get the oxygen into the flour, and then, hey presto, and I haven't actually put the little tight there, to keep the oxygen in, but make sure you got all the lumps, because people go, oh, it's just to get the lumps out. No, it's not, it's to get the oxygen nicely in to the actual flour, nice and gently. Okay, as normal guys, I have my KitchenAid, because I love it, it's my favourite thing of all time. So, what I'm going to do, this is how simple it is, but you must make sure that you don't separate the mix, okay? And eggs are the thing that will separate your mix. So what we're going to start with first, is you're going to add your butter into the actual blender or your bowl, if you've got one at home and you haven't got a blender. I will take it a bit slow, because if you're mixing it, it'll take a bit of a while. So, as you put the actual mix on, you should add then your 150 grams of sugar, caster sugar that is. But remember, I'm actually doing 2 at once. So I'm going to do 2 large sandwiches. Okay, so I'm going to add that in as well. It doesn't matter how quick or slow you add those 2 together, because they're not even got anything contained around the oxygen. There's nothing to worry about the oxygen. It's just getting it nice and soft, nice and gentle, nice and soft, nice and fluffy. Go as fast as you like. And you're on it. Superb job. So, as you can see, nice and yellow, and perfectly done there. That's why I like a KitchenAid. We save my muscles, something else. Anyway, so next stage from here is to now then add your eggs. Okay, and it's really, really crucial you add your eggs very, very, very slowly. Okay, and the reason I say that is because if you get separation in your mix, you're not really going to have a good cake, to be fair. So this is the point that usually some people say figure of 8, and when you're mixing, you do like a figure of 8 in the bowl. That's why I like this, because it just does it for me. So it's really lazy, isn't it? But again, this will be a really slow process. I put it on a very slow mix, just number 1, and I pour a little bit in, and then we wait and have a glass of Serrano. Good stuff, isn't it? Right, next, let's start again. And try. And then what do we do? Have another glass of Serrano. Are you not joining me on Serrano?
Oh.
He was in heels the other night. Did you see him in heels the other night? He had my bloody heels.
My mum's asked to join the Let's Connect Our Community page.
Let's see if you go to my phone. Okay, so keep adding those eggs. I haven't left you guys. Keep adding those eggs. It's a very slow process and it can be a bit painstaking. But you want this cake to look good, okay? So I'm just going to actually add a couple of people from the group because actually so we've got some newbies join our group, which is fabulous.
Yay.
So let's just see if we can get them online as well. Where are we? Come on. Oh my god, that's looking good. It's not even separated though. It's not even separated, and I'll be able to show you what it should look like in a minute. Again, get it slow. I'll put it up to level 2 now, but that's only as fast as I will go now. Because we start to get the oxygen into the sponge. So, let me just see if I can find. Groups. Here we go. Oh, we've got pending. Right. Okay. Oh, that's looking good stuff. We are nearly there. And do you know what? Look, have you seen this? I've got a gingerbread spatula. And I'll tell you what, it's one thing I would always say to you is just make sure that you, when you're doing this, when you use a spatula, you get every bit of mix out of the bowl because then no one can lick it. And they're the best tools ever. I'll tell you, absolutely. So, while I'm adding just Sam's muffins, I think Sam's muffins actually trying to join the group. So let's just see. Oh, someone's already done it. I think someone's already done it. Fabulous. Okay, so that should be looking very yellow, very creamy with the sugar added in. And then what you're going to do, start to final little bits. And I'm going to show you very close up what it should look like. If you've got a separation when it looks all bitty, trust me, you won't have a great cake. And you probably go, I'm going to be pissed by the time this is over. Right.
Again?
Yep, again.
Again?
So I'm hoping your mum's already got in because someone else has entered her in, one of our admins. Anyone who wants to be like a moderator, also let us know because I'm also refreshing the actual moderators as well. So do come and join us. We need some people who really want to be active on the group. Okay.
Yeah.
So, spatula. Mix around your actual edge of your bowl just to make sure if you have got a KitchenAid or some sort of mix, and mix it all together. Just once more, I'm going to stick that back on. Just make sure for those who actually have a KitchenAid, don't forget to turn your bowl and tighten it because it will look a bit wrong and it might go everywhere. Do you know what, yesterday I actually had a cider from the bottle opener. So I used the side cabinet here and it went everywhere. Everywhere. So hey, never mind.
Just after we cleaned the whole house.
Yeah, we cleaned the whole place as well, yeah, absolutely. Fully stained today. Right. Very good, right, so let me get my spatula. Okay, spatula. So I don't think you'll be able to see it properly, guys, but it's very, very creamy. It's very, very yellow, and it hasn't separated. It's just making sure that when you add those eggs, that they are not separating at all, okay? So I've shaved all my beard off tonight, I haven't got much left of it though. I was meant to use number 2, not number 1, but that still help. Okay, so the last bit you need to do, this is how simple a sponge is, okay? So it's just those 150 grams of ingredients. If you want to double them up to pick a bigger one, you can. It's as simple as that. Put it back in the mixing. Take your spatula. What's that from? Spatula. Anyway. So, flour. You're going to add your nutmeg into the flour. And your nutmeg was, as you can see from the ingredients, was your teaspoon. I don't usually, it's usually, I think it's usually anything up to a teaspoon to a full teaspoon. I usually do about 1.5 because I like mine strong. Because when you cook the cake, it actually takes out a lot of the flavour, okay? So that's why I add a little bit more than what I would normally do. And then you've got your cinnamon as well, which I've already added to the flour already. Okay, so give that a little whisk into the actual flour, so you mix them all together, and that's the end of it really. And this is exactly the same process as your eggs. So what you do is just a light covering, and this is the point where the air gets into the sponge. How are we getting on? Who's commenting? How are you anyway?
Oh God.
Are we flying? Are we not good?
Hmm?
What's the matter? We went no good.
We're flying.
Are we flying? Are we good? Are we good?
We've got some family watching.
We're getting into this cake shortly. Anyone missing out? 'Cause I haven't had. Oh my God! Anyone see? Has anyone just joined? Look, go show him something.
Go and show him.
He's been sitting eating all the bloody shortbread.
Shortbread?
Shortbread, you
That's
said
what
so.
I said yesterday.
So I've got shortbread on the mind because I'm making that in a few weeks' time. That's giving the surprise away, isn't
I
it?
feel like a showgirl.
Showgirl.
Here you go.
Oh, you little showgirl. So while we get back, while he's showing this off, make sure you mix the flour in very slowly, one bit at a time. So I'm just going to go through, just adding it very, very slow. And if you've got a lovely guard like I have, you can then add it without getting the mess. Because me and mess don't go well.
Lovely guide. I always said lovely guide.
Right, sponge. Okay. Okay. Does anyone see Sammy's heels on when did we do this? Sunday? Oh, should I tell you something funny? Our oven went down straight after the video. We couldn't cook our cakes, and I had to go rush around. And also, albeit social distance from a friend Jenny Rip who saved the day, albeit she didn't wash up any of my stuff back, and she got the extra cake mix, and she got a Christmas cake for free, and then she still didn't wash the stuff up. So I'll get your own back tonight, girl. But anyway, she cooked my cake, so thank you. She's best friend 27, well, I wouldn't say 27 years, I'm not that old, it's 20 years.
I'm waiting for the comment now.
Right, here she comes.
I'm waiting for the Jen
Here
comment.
she comes. Yeah, do you know our Christmas cake video has now only got 3,000 hits. I'm so impressed with that. I mean, there's so many comments to say people from the States have even made it, so it's really, really lovely to hear. And this is a real simple process to do your cakes. Let's get all this clearance out the way. So for those of you who actually wanted to do either cupcakes or sponge, you can use the same mix, okay? It doesn't matter. I'm going to show you a bit of both that you can do in just a short moment. How's our first week in sort of COVID lockdown? I hope we're all sort of seem to be managing. Are we good? We seem to be getting through it, don't we? I don't know how. I'm living off like bugger all sleep, but hey ho.
COVID?
You what?
Did you say COVID?
Yeah. Are we working from home? Are we furloughed? Are we redundant? I don't know. There's a lot of people in difficult situations at the moment, aren't we? I'm just stuck at home on a computer desk all day. But can't complain. Just getting fat. You know, the usual.
Wait. Why am I... Oh God, my friends are joining.
Oh no! Sam's friends on here. You need to go and get your heels on, Sam, don't you?
Hi Scott. Wait, is that Scott?
Right, guys, so the next part in here is when you've got your bowl, just make sure you mix in the whole entire rest of the flour and the mix. But this is the point, if you have got a KitchenAid, you do it in the basis of a figure of 8. It won't take long because you've already actually had the actual KitchenAid already do that for you. But if you haven't got a KitchenAid, I do feel sorry for you because you'll be sitting there for quite some time and make sure the air gets into the actual mix. So from there, as you see, nice and creamy, and it's all done with proper herbs and spices. It's certainly not done with any essence or fake stuff that I don't like to put in cakes, okay? So, Sam, I'm going to get you to try the test. Is that okay? You want to try it? That's what you're getting. Do you know what, earlier on I did that to him yesterday, right? And he turned around and he sat there for about 5 minutes going, ginger? Bread? I was like, well done. I was like, great stuff.
You got to do it like a professional.
But on the other hand, then you got the gingerbread actually biscuits, didn't you? And half the, I don't have any left, I don't think, apart from what's on there. So, yeah, we make them all Sunday, by the way. Okay, so from here, as soon as we can, we need to put it into the actual cake mix. You can do one of 2 options. Where have I put mine? Oh, there we go.
Huh?
So, you can either do cupcakes, or you can do sponge, okay? So, with the cupcakes, I always recommend foil cupcakes, because when you get paper ones, they always sweat through, okay? So you say scrap that, and make sure you get foil ones. And foil ones you get from Tesco, they are a little bit more expensive, but they look good, better quality. They haven't melted through, the fat and the sugar and everything doesn't melt through to the actual plastic. And if you are a perfectionist, you won't allow that to happen, of course, because I wouldn't either. So, you have 2 ways to do this when you do cupcakes. I'm going to show you some tricks, but before we do that, I'm going to put most of the mix into my actual cake tin. And remember, it was floured from earlier and buttered. So I put butter in first around the cake tin to stop. And when you put actually flour in, plain flour in, you just then, it actually prevents it actually from sticking to the actual cake tin. So a lot of people don't know that. They think they put the butter in and it'll just stop the cake sticking. No, if you put flour in, yes, certainly does. Okay, and then what you do is put even amounts, try and even it out into the tin, just like so. And then what you need to do is when you do a sponge, always put an indent into the middle. When I say indent, I'm going to show you exactly how I'm in to try and make sure that it's like imagine if you're making, if you're down the beach and you actually make a sandcastle and you start actually making a bit of a dent in a ditch where you can put your seawater in, you know, etc. But you're doing it, not the castle in the middle, you're doing it actually on the outside. So it's when it rises, it tries to stay in line with the cake more so than going lower. What are they saying, Sam? What are they saying? They tend to get your heels on?
No, my cousin put, is this great British,
Oh, it's much better than that. I've got Di Serrano, look.
Yeah, but she was like, is this great British gale?
Gale? Absolutely, LGBTQ community, bring it on. Anyway, so it's all rainbows and glitz and glamour in this house, love. Anyway, so. You what? What? Did you say no? Oh, it is in this house. You should see the house. Right, okay. So if your oven is on, making sure it's at 170 if it's a fan oven. No, sorry, 160 if it's a fan oven, and 170 if it's an electric oven. And then lastly, obviously, I think it's gas mark 4, they say. So we're nearly there, and then we can let you go for the rest of the evening. But this is something you can look back on, and you'll be able to see how to cook it. But I've done the tin. I know what I have done here. Let's go back down. You've done a little indent into the actual cake there. Okay. So. Let me just push that down, fabulous. Okay, before I go any further, I'm just going to show you a little tip when you're doing your cake mix into the thing. Okay, so, here, make sure, if you've got a piping bag, if you have got one, fabulous. If you haven't, well, don't worry, you might be able to just use a spoon, okay? Okay, so what I'm going to get you to do, just going to give my little tip. There we go. So if you have got a piping nozzle, try and find that as well. So when I used to do like 700 cupcakes for a food fair overnight, okay, I used to bang this out pretty damn quick, okay? And I had no choice. So putting them in a piping bag is absolutely awesome and saves a lot of time. So, the old traditional way, use a glass. Wrap it round, boys, wrap it round. Okay. Take it in there, don't be afraid of it either. I don't hang around, typical baker in me. Okay, and we always got something that we've got to rush through. Get rid of that. Nothing to actually lick out of the bowl now. Okay, and all I'm going to do, this is only a small version just to show you, but if you wanted to do it, to give yourself like even amounts, is actually squeeze in the middle, and then you'll be able to see by the eye how much you're actually putting into the cupcakes. Okay?
That's an easier way of doing it, because I always do it with like, everyone usually does it with a tablespoon and a teaspoon, and it's just like...
And it's all uneven, you go one thing, so anyway.
yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, with a bit of the, what was it, the Mickey Mouse nose. So yeah, give it a go. So like I said, you usually can take up to about 30 minutes in the oven, maybe a little bit longer, up to 40, depends on the oven. Let's slow cook it, don't fast cook it. When I say don't put the temperature any higher, because what happens is then you'll burn the outside, it doesn't cook on the inside. Little tips for you as well, trick to remember.
Mother Row is watching.
There is?
My mother.
Oh, hello Denise, all right?
My mother. Big
I
shout
hope
out
she's
to my
good.
mum.
Big shout out to mum. Is my mum on?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Hi mum.
Your mum's like the first person who went.
Oh, she's like a fan, isn't she?
My friend Leah, one of my best girl mates, Leah's just come on.
Hi Leah. It'd be good to see you
Right,
soon,
now come off
for
it.
sure. When we get the vaccine and all die, it's quite negative really, isn't it? But well, hope you hear conspiracy stories today.
Who's having
Anyway.
the vaccine first?